Our first guest is a global superstar, one of the best-selling music artists of all time. I love him very, very, very much. Please welcome the incredibly talented Bruno Mars.
What if the world's most spotless pop star almost lost it all twice? First in a Las Vegas bathroom, and now in the glare of his own superstardom. What if the second fall isn't about a moment of bad judgment, but a debt that can't be danced away? That's the question haunting Bruno Mars tonight. Because behind the gold suits and million-dollar smiles, insiders say the man who once turned a scandal into success may be standing on the edge again, this time without a song to save him.
So what do you think you learned most from these days?
From these days?
Yeah.
What I learned most is what good songs do to people. I learned, I played the biggest song, from Michael Jackson to The Police to Zeppelin. I played all these songs in here.
In September 2010, Las Vegas police found a then 24-year-old Mars in the men's room of the Hard Rock Hotel. According to the report, he was carrying 2.6 grams of a white powder later identified as an illicit substance. The headlines were immediate, brutal, and global. His debut album was just weeks from release, and the timing could not have been worse. Yet, somehow, that arrest became the foundation of his legend. The felony charge disappeared after a plea deal, $2,000 fine, community service, counseling. By October, Doo-Wops and Hooligans was on shelves, and Just the Way You Are was climbing to number 1. We watched a young man turn public humiliation into chart domination. By the end of 2011, Bruno Mars had gone from a near mugshot moment to Grammy nominations, a global tour, and a reputation as pop's cleanest redemption story. The industry called him the new Elvis, the new Michael, the new safe bet. But behind the shine, we can't ignore what that first scandal revealed, a pattern. When cornered, Bruno doesn't crumble. He performs, he reinvents, he sells a survival as spectacle. And that's why what's happening now feels different.
Okay, yeah, so is there a secret?
Yeah, I work hard,
Okay.
man. I work my ass off, and I write 100 terrible songs
Wow.
to get to one good one.
Well, you've hit the jackpot a few times,
I
man.
sure
Yeah,
did. He
yeah,
said
yeah.
it, not me.
15 years later, the stage is still his empire. But this time, the rumors are louder than the music. It began in March 2024, when a News Nation report claimed Mars had accumulated more than $50 million in gambling debt to MGM Resorts during his Las Vegas residency. The story alleged that the casino basically owned him and that his multi-year residency was a quiet way of paying it off. MGM immediately denied it, calling the claims completely false and praising their partnership with the singer. Yet, the timing of what followed left the industry buzzing. Within weeks, Bruno extended that same residency. 5 extra shows in December, then 5 more in February. And just days later, he posted an Instagram video from SoFi Stadium, grinning as confetti fell, captioned, "Almost out of debt, bebe! Appreciate you, Rose." The humor was obvious, but so was the message. When artists joke about money, it's usually because there's something serious underneath. This was July 2024, just months after the first wave of debt reports. Insiders at MGM told reporters the post made executives uneasy. Bruno laughed it off again in January, writing, "Keep streaming. I'll be out of debt in no time." That line went viral. Fans laughed. Industry watchers didn't. Because while MGM's statement ended the debt story publicly, the singer's own behavior seemed to breathe life back into it. His residency contracts remained opaque, and sources close to the venue quietly confirmed that Mars' team renegotiated performance dates at a discount, trading longer commitments for higher production budgets. Whether that was strategy or settlement remains unclear. But every new extension makes the whispers harder to silence.
Because you've got a 67 Chevy, you've got a dog called Geronimo at home, you've got brass palms at your Hollywood Hills house.
Oh, man.
I mean, you're living the life. How have you, out of everybody in the world, managed to do as well as you have?
Yeah,
What's the secret?
I guess being better than everybody in the
Yeah!
Yeah!
And just as those whispers reached peak volume, another headline hit. After nearly 14 years together, Bruno Mars and model Jessica Caban had reportedly separated. No drama, no public feud, just a quiet split confirmed by people close to both. Yet, the timing couldn't have been worse. The man who once said he avoided the spotlight to keep focus on music suddenly had no album on the horizon, no new tour, and now, no partner. Fans began to notice the silence. His last major hit was a duet, Die with a Smile with Lady Gaga, still charting through 2025, but no solo single, no album announcement. We can see the pattern repeating. In 2010, Scandal was followed by a smash. In 2025, Rumor is followed by nothing. No comeback single, no defiant interview, just Bruno hiding behind the same humor that once protected him. It raises a brutal question. Has the man who built his empire on charm finally run out of moves? Some insiders believe the issue runs deeper than money or heartbreak. The real threat, they say, is perception. In 2018, cultural critic Seren Sensei accused Bruno Mars of profiting from Black musical traditions while avoiding the struggles that defined them. The conversation simmered for years, but now, with industry attention shifting toward authenticity and representation, that old criticism has new teeth. When your entire brand is built on borrowing from legends, one former A&R executive tells us, you can't afford a scandal. The audience might decide you've borrowed too much.
Here, what's the most hooligan thing you've ever done?
I just tore up my dressing room, beat it up. You should see the walls. And one time I jaywalked. You know what jaywalking is? How hooligan is that? You know, at the Grammys I met Lenny Kravitz, and that was really cool. I grew up listening to a lot of Lenny Kravitz, and he was just such a cool dude. And I was actually jamming backstage in our dressing room. We had some instruments, and he walked in, and he's like, "You mind if I come in and jam with you guys?" And he sat down, he picked up the bass, and I was jamming with Lenny.
Bruno has always defended himself with grace. In a 2021 radio interview, he said, "The only reason I'm here is because of James Brown, Prince, Michael." That humility once silenced the debate. But in an era where social media magnifies every misstep, humility doesn't guarantee safety. As streaming numbers climb and ticket prices rise, fans have begun to question whether the 24K Magic Showman is still one of them, or just another brand polished to perfection. Meanwhile, the Vegas residency that was supposed to be a victory lap has become a microscope. Audiences describe the shows as flawless, but critics note how little has changed over the years. Same set list, same choreography, same sequined swagger. For a performer once known for reinvention, repetition feels risky. Even devoted fans, the self-named hooligans, have started to grumble online that the concerts feel like reruns. Some have gone further, suggesting the residency is more obligation than celebration. When you hear that, the idea of a hidden debt doesn't sound so far-fetched. What we're watching isn't just a celebrity rumor cycle. It's a slow unmasking. Bruno Mars, the man who turned every setback into spectacle, is facing the kind of trouble you can't charm away. MGM's denial stands on record, but corporate loyalty has limits. If even a fraction of the debt speculation is true, it could jeopardize not just his residency, but the network of sponsorships tied to his name, from luxury brands to his fast-growing rum company. The silence around his financials only fuels the narrative that something's not adding up.
This album for me is everything that I feel like how do I explain this, Elvis? There's a groove, there's a pocket, there's a swing that I want to hear that I'm not feeling right now. And I want to hear, hopefully when you hear this album, you'll see what I was trying to do.
And that's the irony. Bruno Mars has spent 15 years selling perfection. From Just the Way You Are to Uptown Funk, every note was precision, every performance a mirror of control. But control is exactly what seems to be slipping. His last major public comment was months ago, during an Apple Music interview where he said, "I don't want to be known for no scandal or controversy. I want to be the guy who brings joy in your life through music." Yet here we are, with his private life and professional stability under more scrutiny than ever. We've seen this movie before. Talent meeting temptation, fame meeting fatigue. But with Bruno, there's a darker symmetry. In 2010, he was caught with a small amount of an illicit substance and turned it into a comeback anthem. In 2025, he's facing whispers of high-stakes gambling and emotional fallout, and this time the music isn't playing yet. For an artist whose every crisis has birthed a hit, silence feels like danger. Behind the scenes, associates describe him as focused but distant. Studio insiders claim he's experimenting with a new sound, leaning more electronic, less funk. Others say the sessions are directionless, stalled by uncertainty over image. Because if Bruno Mars has built a career on timeless joy, how does he sell turmoil? What does the king of cool do when the room starts to question the illusion?
Did you have the gracious loser face worked out? You know, going into it, because you're like, you can't be the person that's like, and the winner is not Bruno Mars.
No, it was funny because I was sitting next to CeeLo, and we were nominated for the FU song, and B.O.B. was behind me, and we were nominated for Nothing on You. So the whole time I was just like, just keep smiling. All right, guys, we don't know what's going to happen, but just keep smiling. So we're all like...
One executive put it bluntly, anthems made him rich, but anthems don't pay off rumors. And that's where we are now, watching a superstar who once turned shame into triumph stand at another crossroads. The world is waiting for the next move, the next track, the next resurrection. But the house always keeps the odds, and this time, even for Bruno Mars, the house might not let him walk away. On paper, Bruno Mars looks untouchable. Industry trackers estimate his empire at roughly $175 million, an impressive figure built on streaming royalties, global tours, and a long-term residency at Park MGM that pays him several $100,000 per night. Add to that his cut from chart toppers like D with a Smile with Lady Gaga and APT with Rosé, each streaming into the billions, and the numbers paint a picture of stability. But empires this big rarely stay balanced on hits alone, and what we're seeing now feels less like wealth and more like a house of mirrors. His company filings show a web of side ventures, from a rum label to apparel licensing, yet the quiet extensions of his residency, the timing of his breakup, and the whispers of financial strain make one uncomfortable truth clear. If everything is fine, why does it feel like Bruno is racing against a cutoff point?
I've had more guys come up to me and compliment that song than I think I've ever had in any other song that I've done. And I thought it was going to be the other way around.
Right.
And guys, I've had a lot of guys say, man, as soon as I heard that, I bought my girl flowers, man. I took her out.
Took her out to dance.
I took her out to dance.
No, I guess, guys.
We've watched this pattern before. When scandal hits, he doesn't hide, he performs his way out. After the Las Vegas arrest in 2010, the world expected collapse. Instead, he dropped Just the Way You Are and rebranded the humiliation into humility. When his mother passed in 2013, he poured the grief into When I Was Your Man and made it a global confession. Every setback became a melody, every crisis a bridge to the next era. But in 2025, the silence feels louder than any song. There's no new album, no announcement, only the same Vegas routine. The brass band, the mirrored suit, the perfectly timed smile. Night after night, the same show repeats as rumors outside grow sharper. For an artist who built fame on reinvention, repetition looks like retreat. Is this the calm before another reinvention, or a man trapped inside his own creation? People close to him describe the residency as both lifeline and leash. Each performance fills the house, yet the cost of keeping that spectacle alive, crew salaries, lighting, choreography, runs deep. Industry accountants whisper that even small fluctuations in ticket sales can rattle the profit margin. One production insider claims Bruno personally covers bonuses for longtime musicians when box office numbers dip. Another says he's refused to cut expenses because he views the show as a promise to his late mother. Pride has always been his armor, but pride can be expensive. Then there's the psychological toll. We can see it in the contrast between the performer and the man off stage. In interviews, he insists, "I just want to do music. I don't want to be known for no scandal or controversy." But avoiding the spotlight doesn't stop it from finding him. Every time he jokes about being almost out of debt, the line becomes a meme and the myth grows. Behind the humor sits a darker calculation, the kind of self-awareness that turns gossip into free marketing. Bruno knows the game. He's played it before. Yet this time, we sense exhaustion where there used to be precision.
And that's what was happening.
And that's what was happening, opposed to me walking in there saying, this is what I am, this is my music, take it or leave it. I walked in there with nothing. Played a guitar, and they're like, oh, you can sing, we'll sign you. It was a different time back then, too. I don't even know if there was like iTunes out or anything.
Yeah.
The Hernandez family remains his closest circle and, some say, his last line of defense. His brother Eric has drummed beside him since the first tour. His sisters, Jaime, Tiara, Tahiti, and Presley, perform as the Lilas and still join him for family tributes. Together, they protect the legacy of their mother, who once told them that music was the family business. But that loyalty comes with weight. When your entire household's livelihood flows from one name, failure isn't private. It's collective. Insiders recall that during the pandemic, Bruno quietly funded his siblings' projects to keep them afloat. The gesture reinforced the bond, but deepened his own obligations. Now, with fans demanding reinvention and investors watching numbers, that family loyalty could become a financial anchor. Shields can only take so many hits before they crack. In private, friends describe Bruno as reflective, almost withdrawn. He spends hours in the studio tinkering with analog synths and drum machines, chasing a sound that feels new but nostalgic. Some collaborators have walked away from sessions saying he's chasing perfection instead of progress. Others claim he's working through something bigger, a creative paralysis born from the pressure to top his own myth. One associate summarized it bluntly: he's scared to fail in public again. That fear, more than any rumor, might explain the standstill. Anderson .Paak could be the wild card. Their Silk Sonic collaboration was supposed to be a playful side project, a vintage soul detour before Mars returned to solo glory. Instead, it became a phenomenon. 4 Grammys, endless acclaim, and the rare moment where he shared the spotlight willingly. The chemistry between them was effortless, but insiders hint the partnership also offered Bruno something deeper: cover. In a duo, pressure splits in half. If the next record stumbles, the blame is shared. It's why some believe he's preparing another Silk Sonic run, not out of artistic curiosity, but survival instinct. Because when your solo brand feels fragile, a band can look like a shield.
That's the kind of attitude I had, but it's not like in the movies. And I was, I don't hold any grudges against Motown. I was just really young, and I feel like I didn't know. I didn't know that you can't, it's not like, you're not just gonna have hit songs fall in your lap. And you can't tell, nobody should tell you what kind of artist you need to be.
Yet that move carries its own risk. For an artist built on control, collaboration means surrendering it. Anderson .Paak thrives on spontaneity, the opposite of Bruno's meticulous polish. Their friendship works, but can their creative balance hold under scrutiny? Industry observers note that Silk Sonic's magic relied on nostalgia, not evolution. Repeating it might expose its limits. Still, if the rumors about mounting debts and emotional fatigue have any weight, this partnership could be his only safe exit, a way to rebuild public goodwill while keeping attention off his finances. Meanwhile, the culture around him is shifting. Pop audiences that once worshipped perfection now reward vulnerability. The very polish that made Bruno invincible in 2015 can feel distant in 2025. Younger acts like Sabrina Carpenter and Benson Boone dominate feeds by oversharing. Bruno remains silent. That silence reads as mystery to some, evasion to others. His reluctance to speak has kept him clean for years, but in an age of transparency, invisibility can look like guilt, and that's the paradox of his empire. The more he hides, the louder the whispers grow.
Walking around like, yeah, I'm a Motown artist. You know Motown, right? Marvin Gaye, the Jacksons, Bruno. You know, like that's the kind of attitude I had, but it's not like in the movies. And I was, you know, I don't hold any grudges against Motown. I was just really young and I feel like I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Behind the velvet curtains of Park MGM, the show still starts on time. Brass flares, sequins flash, and Bruno grins like nothing outside exists. For 2 hours, he rewrites reality, the same way he always has. But when the lights go down and the crowd filters into the casino floor, we're left with questions the setlist doesn't answer. Why extend a residency that never ends? Why tease new music that never arrives? And why, after a decade of reinvention, does Bruno Mars suddenly feel frozen in place? Some insiders believe he's planning something massive, a surprise album, a farewell tour, or even a documentary to reclaim his narrative. Others think he's simply buying time, waiting for the noise to fade. But time is its own gamble in Las Vegas. Every postponed release risks momentum. Every rumor chips away at legacy. If history repeats, the next act will be redemption. Yet redemption requires confession, and confession isn't Bruno's language. We can't ignore the symbolism. A man who made millions singing about fortune, now performing inside the city built on chance. His entire career feels like one long roll of the dice, and lately the table looks cold. For more than a decade, he's turned chaos into chart toppers, grief into groove, controversy into choreography. But this time, the chaos isn't confined to the studio. It's in the bank ledgers, the empty Instagram captions, and the uneasy laughter that follows every out-of-debt joke. So where does this story go next? Is Bruno Mars preparing his greatest comeback yet? Or are we witnessing the slow unraveling of pop's most calculated perfectionist? We can feel the tension building the way it did before every reinvention. But no new anthem has dropped, no headline has flipped in his favor. Maybe he's writing it now. Maybe the silence is the sound of something ending. Or maybe, for the first time, Bruno Mars has finally run out of magic. What do you think? Will he find another way to turn this storm into a hit? Or has his luck finally run its course? Let us know in the comments. Stay tuned for what happens next. And remember, in Las Vegas, even legends have to bet on themselves. Until next time, we'll be watching.